This is the Double Doinkers Fantasy Football Cast with Nick Meyer and Willie J. This week we bring you the Week 4 recap and the Week 5 preview. All that good stuff that comes with that, you know what I'm saying? And there's a good chance you may not know what I'm saying, but if you have listened to us before, we are the Double Doinkers. We come to you each week on Wednesday nights and we talk about the week that's upcoming. Of course, we just finished with the Week 4 of the 2025 season, if you check this out in the future. And it was a lot of things changed. Like, maybe teams didn't really necessarily change their makeup, but there's a lot of injuries that are going to be really important. But before we jump into that, me and Willie did a podcast last night, so I'm already like jumping in. But what's up, Willie? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was gonna say, we're like a quarter of the way through the season now. Like, if there was maybe not quite, but like Sunday at 1:00 will be a quarter of the way through the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it really did seem like things changed this week. We'll talk about it, but I don't know. I feel like Week 5 is when you really are starting to get settled, and you really know, not just for fantasy, but you know what teams are good at and what teams are bad.
Well, here's the fun part about Week 5 is the bye weeks start, and the bye weeks are going to shake up rosters almost no matter what. So all these players that you've had that you're like, I can stash them forever, you can't stash them forever anymore. It's going to turn out real quick. Injuries are going to also affect the landscape, as you will definitely see this week, because we'll talk about it in a second. But one thing I would like to remind everybody, and I need this reminder myself every once in a while, is that your record right now hasn't precluded you from anything. If you're 1-3, 0-4, that hurts and that's not fun, but that doesn't mean that you're out of the running. There's plenty of time to still come back, and typically, and this is just what I've seen, I don't think I have like a lot of math. You do typically make the playoffs if you do well early on. However, what I've seen for most championship teams is they're the teams that do better in the second half of the season than they did in the first half.
Absolutely. I've noticed, I don't think in my league that there's been a couple exceptions, but most of the time it's not been the guy with the most points throughout the season, the number one that wins. It's whoever just happens to, have strong players the final like third of the season. Also, to your point, I want to share a little humble brag. I was 0-2 and awful in my main league first couple weeks. And then week 3, I barely won. But then week 4, I just my players just really, really broke out. Everything broke right. And I had the most points in my entire 12 person league. And I went up from like 10th in the 12 man, and I'm 4th. And that's how much things switched up in 1 week. So we're still early.
I would say so for me in this, I'm in a 12-team league. We have 6 players go to the playoffs each year, so half the league.
Yeah.
And what I have noticed, our playoffs start week 15, so week 14 is the last regular week of the season. Is the only time that you truly start getting out of the playoffs is that 7-loss mark.
Yeah, that's good mathematically.
So 6 losses is bad if you don't have a fair amount of wins, but you're not out until you got the 7th. Until then, fight. And if you're listening to this, I don't think I really need to tell you this, but you got to keep things going for the league. You can't give up. So just, you got this. And I say that because I'm sure like a lot of different people, I myself also in my league record have lost a very important piece. So let's talk about injury news. I'm going to start there because it just upsets me so much. I don't want to think about it later. Malik Neighbors tore his ACL as soon as he got a quarterback that looked competent and the team looked like they're going to turn a corner. The first round's, awesome, amazing second-year wide receiver just goes up to jump and his knee explodes.
And I mean, it's midair. You can see it. It was bad.
It really looks like his knee exploded. It's just like he pushed down, popped up, and everything just, I think, fell apart. I'm not a doctor, clearly, because I don't think that's how that works. But he's gone for the season. He'll be back next year. It happened early enough in the season that I think he'll probably be ready for next year. But man, that stinks.
It sucks. There's been so much discourse about this in the football community, but that MetLife turf field, that and FedEx Field in the Washington, are both just very cursed fields. Washington is more like superstitious. Like there's bad injuries that happen there. The MetLife Stadium, which is home to the Jets and Giants, it's just a bad field. The AstroTurf, it makes you very susceptible to injuries. It's an indoor field, I think, with AstroTurf, which makes no sense.
Yeah, and of course the billionaire owner of I think the Giants, John Mayer, unless he just passed. Someone just died.
I think it was the owner, yes, but
Yes,
still,
but the ownership group in general was talking about how it was too expensive to replace it and run real grass, which is just crazy to me. It's like, how much money do you spend on these players,
yeah,
and then you're talking about it's too expensive to replace the grass.
you're
Like,
actively losing money.
you team up with the Jets ownership and be like, hey, we got to fix this grass. The Jets ownership, no offense to Jets fans out there, but I just assume that it's pretty awful. But so my rant about Malik Neighbors is just that, ouch, that one hurt. I don't think that you can expect to get his level of production from anyone else on that team. It's just not like
No.
Darius Slayton's the clear pickup for me. But it's not even close to the same level. I mean, so now you got Jackson Dart, who I think is going to be pretty happy running the ball.
Yeah, and that's the clear pickup for me is Jackson Dart. We saw, I think he had like upwards of 50 rushing yards. And he was running even before Neighbors went down. So he is a quarterback. I don't know, if you drafted Joe Burrow and then you picked up Jake Browning, or you're in that situation where you don't have a quarterback, you definitely go for Jackson Dart if you haven't already.
Yeah.
He's got that Justin Fields kind of New York player where maybe the team sucks, the offense sucks, but he's going to be rushing.
The way he played, and this is only one game, of course, it reminded me of Jaden Daniels last year in his first few starts, and that was that it looked like the game was fast for him. You know what I mean? Like, he took the snap, he looked for his first read, and if it wasn't immediately open, he just ran the ball.
Yeah,
and that's going to be frustrating at first, but we did see with Jaden Daniels that, like, over the season, he slowed down. He was able to go through his reads, and Jackson Dart will probably get there eventually. And Jackson Dart clearly made the offense better than Russell Wilson did. I was concerned that as the Giants, I think the first thing I saw on this is that it's not necessarily all on the Giants.
Yeah.
The sneaky pick, the one that's not going to have been picked up in your league yet, that I think you should keep an eye on is Theo Johnson. Because Theo Johnson did get a touchdown and he got a few looks, and Theo Johnson had moments. I'm not going to say like super relevant moments, but he had moments where he looked good. And if Jackson Dart starts leaning on his tight end, that could be a nice name.
Theo Johnson's pretty young too. Wasn't he recently drafted?
I believe he was a rookie last year. I believe
he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So he was a 4th round pick just last year. So he's a young player. He's just still adjusting to the NFL, but he could potentially be a really good just player in general. So I like that.
He caught like a shovel pass touchdown this last week, and it didn't look like it was drawn up for him. So there may already be chemistry there, is what I felt immediately. We'll move on. Tyreek Hill this Monday, whenever you're listening to this. So the Monday night game of week 4, he just also blew out his knee. This one wasn't an explosion. It was just a complete inversion of what a knee should look like. I'll leave my I'll just say Tyreek Hill, he is 32 after this season, so he's going to be an old guy. He already said he plans on playing on 2026. Someone will give him a shot. Who knows if it'll be relevant to fantasy. Now, much like Malik Neighbors, you're not going to replace Tyreek Hill on that offense because he's a very unique player. But you're looking at, of course, Darren Waller, because it's 2025 and Darren Waller scored 2 touchdowns. And then you're also looking at Malik Washington.
Also a young guy who we don't really know his full potential yet.
We've heard, I've heard rumblings that he could be good, and that was prior to this injury. So maybe this opportunity shows up and he like gets something. But Jalen Waddle also becomes, I think, a much better piece than he was prior. Jalen Waddle's a good player.
Pretty low. I mean, which is pretty low to begin with. He was not producing at the level of his starting, at least last year. He was not producing at the level he was being drafted. If anything, though, this makes me excited for Devon Achane. I mean, he's still going to be he already was the focal point of his offense. And now I would argue he's the most explosive player now that Tyreek's out. So I feel like they're going to be leaning on him a lot, maybe to a detriment. And that's why if Ali Gordon is on waivers, I would, consider snatching him up. He might've gotten dropped because I worry about Achane's health being overused, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. Now, what I'd take a look at last year when Achan was the focal point of the offense in the second half of the season. It didn't really make the Dolphins a good team, which is so funny, right? Like Achan was having wonderful success as a PPR monster in the
Mhm.
second half of the season, but the Dolphins couldn't score touchdowns because they're not moving the ball if they keep passing it 2 yards. If they want to have success, and we saw them kind of like change up their I don't know want to say play calling, but almost like play style these last couple weeks where they were actually throwing the ball downfield again. They're gonna need to keep that up. So I do have hope that there's gonna be some sort of relevance out of here, but I wouldn't be like overly excited about it, I guess. The
Yeah,
Dolphins are already not a great team.
it's not like a situation where obviously he's a much more valued player, but it's not a situation where like someone like Najee goes down and then Omari and Hampton is like this incredible must
Hmm.
start player. That
Hmm.
these offenses just aren't good enough to have a player that can replace the guys that you lost.
No. Let's talk about a good offense that lost someone. Lamar Jackson. He had a hamstring injury in a game that they were just getting dominated by the Chiefs. Um, Speaking of dominated by the Chiefs, I did have one of my nuclear boys last week was Derrick Henry, and that didn't plan out. I think I underestimated how bad this Ravens team was going to look.
The defense is banged up, but it's bad.
Hmm.
There's really no. I mean, the last year the secondary was allowing the most passing yards. This year, I don't even think the secondary is the worst part. I mean, Nate Wiggins looks great. I think it's just the defense as a whole.
Hmm.
It's bad, bad.
They're not able to stop anything at the moment. They're a defense that you can start targeting. I think if you want to play players against them,
Mhm.
which is wild. But so Lamar Jackson, it sounds like he's actually hurt. I know everyone who I talked to afterwards was like he's faking it because he didn't want to be in that game anymore. But no, it sounds like it was real. It sounds like he avoided IR potentially, but it still could be 2 to 3 weeks. Which means you get Cooper Rush, and that just completely changes the makeup of that offense.
He's so different than
Hmm.
Lamar's play style. Did you hear that? So apparently, Shadur Sanders refused to be drafted by the Ravens. I don't know if there was a explicit offer, but I think they called him and at some point, like before day 3, and they were like talking to him or his agent or something, and he was like, "No, I don't want to play for the Ravens. I don't want to back up. I want to have a chance to start." And imagine that. Imagine if he actually was on the Ravens and got mentored. He'd be starting next week
Well,
potentially.
okay. I mean, so if you want to talk Shador for a second, have you seen any of the interviews with him done recently? So
Uh, oh, about Gabriel, like in his like reaction.
yeah, and he's just mouthing words. He's like purposely not saying it out loud so that way you can't get gotcha and say you said bad things. But like he's clearly saying bad things. Dude, Shador, the thing that it's showing is that everyone was right.
Hmm.
Shador, come on, man. Like just gotta just do your sports interview. Everyone knows how to do it. You say, I'm excited for him, the team should win. It'll be
Yeah,
great.
redirect it to the team. If you're actually like upset that this guy beat you out, just redirect it to the team. And
Hmm.
he's not even doing that.
No, no, it's a bad look. But so Lamar Jackson, Cooper Rush comes in. That'll change the makeup of the team pretty significantly. Where I don't want to say excited because I think this just makes the offense worse, but I think you can start looking at your like Rashad Bateman's and your oh, you can't tell me I'm spacing on number 10. DeAndre Hopkins, there we go.
Mhm.
As players that might actually have a little bit more PPR relevance because Cooper Rush isn't gonna. Unfortunately not like his namesake. He's not gonna rush the ball nearly as much as Lamar Jackson, and he's not as efficient of a passer. So it's not like these like two passes down the field you scored a touchdown. This is gonna be dinking and dunking if they're getting there.
It might be wishful thinking, but I think maybe this helps Derrick Henry. Not that Lamar was capping his upside at all. I just think that without Lamar, they don't have that explosive rusher, and they need to lean on Henry more. He's the best offensive player, even though he's looked bad. Now he is the best offensive player. There is no Lamar, so I just feel like he has nowhere to go but up, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll talk about them a little bit more later. I actually have Derrick Henry as a feature on this as a sit because I also think that this could really benefit the second running back Justice Hill a lot.
And he's the PPR guy. Derrick
Hmm.
Henry is not a PPR guy. I was
Hmm.
going to mention I like Justice Hill's upside. And we'll get into the sits, but as particularly this week, who the Ravens are playing, and also Henry will get better, but this week is going to be awkward for the Ravens,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially against the defense. Like, this is a brand new offense. We don't know. They don't know what they're doing. I like it's going to be different.
Trey Benson, he went on IR, on kind of a middle of nowhere. Just apparently he really did get hurt in the game, and it wasn't, you know, it was a little bit of a surprise to everyone because of course we find out about this today, Wednesday, after waivers have run for basically every single league, and so now you're left with looking at Amari DiMercado, Michael Carter, and Bam Knight. Bam Knight almost certainly is not the person you're going to want. He's a special teams player. Now watch him blow up, But this is news that I would love to say doesn't matter, but they play the Titans this week, so you're going to get one of these players that has a touchdown. I can almost guarantee it.
Yep.
You got to make your call on that one because right now at this moment, it seems like half of the people are saying Amari DiMercado is going to be the starter, and half the people are saying Michael Carter is going to be the starter, including Michael Carter himself. So you're just going to have to make a gut call. This is a hard one. Make that gut call. Personally, I picked them all up everywhere, and I feel like an idiot.
Can't really split it. It's funny, Nick, you mentioned to me last night that DiMercado or that Trey Benson was injured, and this is before there was any announcement. There was like some BuzzFeed, buzz. I don't know what I'm saying. Was talking about the Trey Benson injury, and this was before there was a designation on the NFL app that Trey Benson might miss time. And then, lo and behold, this morning he's on IR. So fortunately, I did put in a waiver request for DiMercado last night, so I was able to get him as a Benson replacement. But it really is. I lean more personally to DiMercado because he's already on the team established. Michael Carter he's elevated from the practice squad, and sometimes it doesn't matter. But I feel like in this case, maybe it does. I know DiMercado also like can catch passes. I don't know about Michael Carter as much, so it's hard to say.
What I do know is that the Cardinals right now are in kind of a bad way, and this Titans game is the exact sort of game they would need to fix that.
Get right.
Of course,
yeah.
if they lose to the Titans, that'll be hilarious. I no love lost for the Cardinals. I don't really, they don't move the feed from either which way. But I would assume because of the way the Cardinals play that if they are going to go up big in this game, it's going to be because of the run game. So again, it's worth making your call, and there is a chance that both players do okay.
And I feel like there's a very high chance they're going to get split carries. I think there's a decent chance they could both get a touchdown. It really is the Titans' run defense that is so bad. And the Cardinals have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, so this is worth paying attention to, even if you hate the idea of having one of these guys on your team, because I don't blame you for that, but it's worth paying attention to, especially during bye weeks. Let's talk about the 49ers. Everyone is hurt. That's not true. It's Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, and Brock Purdy are all already out for the Thursday night game. Brock re-hurt his toe because, of course, when you rush someone back with a toe injury and they play on it, they hurt their toe again.
Classic.
Ricky Pearsall has a PCL injury that is supposed to be minor. I would say he probably misses 2 weeks if I had to guess.
Anything that ends in a CL, I just don't think is minor.
Yeah. Well, it's funny is not the right word to use, but this is another one of these like Kyle Shanahan has to stop. At some point, he has to stop. Ricky had this injury going into the game. He should have just sat out that game. Because guess who would be healthy right now and probably going forward? Ricky Pearsall. Juwan Jennings got hit in like the most terrible way. I don't really know what his exact injury was, but like it looked like something related to the core of the ribs because he got crunched pretty hard on a I think it was a 2-point conversion. It might have been a touchdown.
I think it was a 2-point, yeah.
Yeah. It's just the 49ers continue to just have all of the bad news. And because it's Mac Jones and they're playing against the Rams, I'm not really suggesting you go out and get anyone. I was interested in Demarcus Robinson, but I would not in any realistic way play him this week.
I would consider it if it wasn't a Thursday night game, but this is such a fast turnaround from Sunday when they lost and they're already starting a new quarterback. I like the Robinson idea, because I just can't think of anyone who besides CMC is an offensive player on this team right now.
Jake Tonges, who has
If you're,
been used.
yeah,
Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
that's the guy. Honestly, if anyone's going to get double-digit PPR points this week, it's going to be MVS.
Yeah, just in I can't. If you're hearing this right now, don't play MVS. Like, if
Corey.
anyone, you're right. If anyone, it is him. But you can't bank on that, dude. Jarrett Verse is gonna eat Mac Jones alive this week.
Yeah,
That
it's going to be bad.
yeah, it's gonna be. I
guess
mean, already
Kittle is eligible to come off of IR next week, so I don't really know where he's at. I know Brandon Ayuk is nowhere near close to coming back, reportedly. So
Brandon Ayuk got the bag right before he got hurt. Man, he's not in a rush.
Yeah, good for him.
Really though, yeah, I agree. Like, you tore your ACL for a team, like that's awesome. Not awesome that you tore your ACL, that you got paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Jalen Warren missed week 4.
Yeah. Kenneth Gainwell looked good.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell did look really good. They're on bye this week, so there's no real. I wouldn't make any real true moves here. Caleb Johnson still didn't do anything. Sucks.
Yeah.
Joel of the Chargers got hurt, and from my understanding, is he out for the season? I think he was.
I don't think I know. So the other guy, Rashawn Slater, is that right? Is he Slater? I get him in the Vikings.
Yeah, Slater's the one who was hurt for who was definitely out for the season before.
I always get Darisaw and Slater confused. So Slater never even played. He's been out in preseason. He got hurt. I think Joe Alt had a high ankle sprain.
You're exactly right. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, so I think it's like he's on IR, and I think it's like grade 2 or 3, which is probably like 8 weeks. But I don't think he's out for this season.
Okay, well, that's good news for the Chargers. Bad news for this week, though. They go against the Commanders, who have an okay defense. It's their defensive line in particular seems to, from what I've seen, have moments, and this would be an amazing game for them to have moments. Yeah, it kind of like Hampton. It didn't seem to change much of what he did, because Hampton seems to be a strong runner, and if they're giving him the reins. Offensive line injuries are bad for strong runners, but they can also work good if the other opposing team starts blitzing a lot. Because the way to beat the blitz is through the run.
This is bad. Yeah,
yeah. It's just not good. So okay, there's so many injuries. Bucky Irving, he's in crutches, not on IR, in crutches and a walking boot. Bad sign.
That very bad.
Of course, Terry McLaurin stays out. We didn't know about that one already. Cedric Tillman, you already mentioned that he got hurt. He hurt his hamstring immediately on IR. Not great. Deebo Samuel's hurt.
Great.
So now you're down to just Luke McCaffrey.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I got excited about it. We're not gonna talk about Luke McCaffrey. I'm not. I tried to hype him up last year, and we'll see.
He's go on.
Is Jaden Daniels playing?
Yeah, it sounds like Jaden Daniels will play.
Okay.
So they're going against the Chargers, which are an awesome defense. So that's going to be kind of a rough game. Zach Ertz, play Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
I hate that, but do it. You should probably do it.
He's like tight end 5 or 6. He gets a touchdown from Daniels and Mariota. Like, they were both looking his way in the end zone.
Okay. Am I missing anyone? I said a lot of names. I'm sure I'm missing someone.
We'll probably maybe remember as we go through the games. I feel like there's one other significant one. Will probably come to us, but yeah, definitely the combination of injuries and buys are just. It's going to be an interesting week for fans.
Yeah, if you look at all the teams in your league, if you have any team that is currently not playing someone off the waiver wire in the last 2 weeks, then they're the lucky team.
Yeah,
get ready. Every like at least in all of my leagues, there's at least one person who's starting someone who you wouldn't have ever dreamed of starting before week 1. Okay, so last week we had like a handful of games. I would say a lot of them ended up close, but they weren't necessarily. Not all of them were super interesting. which is just my opinion. Last week really upset me with the Malik Neighbors injury. I was so tilted so early in the day.
There was some exciting games, including ones that came down to the failed field goal. That was my favorite. Sunday night game was great. The Thursday night game was just frustrating for the Cardinals. So the 80% of that game was Marvin Harrison Jr. just looking terrible and dropping so many passes, and like it was bad. Like we were talking about him last week, where it seemed like he couldn't catch passes. He was just like dropping them. It was even worse on Thursday night, and then he gets a touchdown at the end, and he looks.
Yeah, he led to 2 direct interceptions, like that. 2 direct interceptions. He stopped running on a route, then he bobbled it, and then someone caught it off of his bobble. But here's my hot take on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s. I like him for the rest of the season. I'm feeling that redemption arc coming. I'm feeling it. Like the look on his face after he scored that touchdown got me thinking. Like NFL was like, okay, here we go. This is redemption arc for this man. Let's get him going. And I can see it. I mean, what do the Cardinals have to lose? Trey Bench's on IR. Their whole running game is just like dead.
Yeah,
get Marvin Harrison in here. Get him going.
At least he's explosive, and we know he has potential. Not to get too ahead, but I feel like the Cardinals have got to be at a crossroads, and if they go 7-10 again this year, I feel like Kyler's probably gone.
I mean, he would have to be. I don't think you can keep trotting him out if you can't succeed with this guy.
I think ownership would choose Marvin Harrison over Kyler, despite what we've seen, just the draft capital they put into him. And I don't know, him and Kyler just don't have chemistry, straight up.
Yeah, I agreed. And Kyler doesn't seem to have chemistry with anyone right now, though. That's the issue. I think there's something deeper going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a frustrating game. The Seahawks did look great. Like that was 23-20. It didn't look close until the very end. JSN may not have had the most amazing game, but that's really because they didn't need him to. Vikings Steelers, that was the Dublin game. The Steelers also seemed to kind of dominate that game for the most part for a while. I was happy because I played DK Metcalf and I was going against Carson Wentz, and of course, then in the fourth quarter, Carson Wentz just gets everything.
Finally comes alive.
So Carson Wentz isn't a total wash. The Steelers played pretty well. The Steelers offense looked great with Kenneth Gainwell and throwing the ball to DK, and the Vikings were kind of just they didn't come alive until the fourth quarter, like you said.
Yeah.
Now with the Vikings, this is a short-lived thing because this next week coming up, and I am jumping the gun here a little bit. They get to take on the Browns in London. So the Vikings go to Dublin. They get to hang out for a week and then play in London. So they don't have to jet lag. They're already there. They're already used to the time change.
It makes a big difference. It really does.
If you don't get a bye after an international game, this is definitely better. I would say this has got to be the most preferred thing they could possibly do from a competitive standpoint. So the Vikings are a team that, like, next week, I'm looking. You want them in, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, I suppose.
And especially they're in a point now, the 2-2, where they're the division, like the Packers and Bears and Vikings are all in the same place, so they really need to get ahead in the division. Even though it's not a divisional game, it just wins right now matter for the NFC North. I also wanted to mention with Gainwell, the frustrating thing is that he looked really great. I think he had 3 touchdowns. If the Steelers weren't on bye this week, I think he would be a must start. But the fact that Jaylen Warren will have 2 weeks to recover, it just makes him uninteresting as a pickup, I should say.
I'm gonna post this question because it's about Jaylen Warren. Can I drop 40 fab on Jaylen Warren in a 10-team league? I assume that's 40% of your total out of 100. And yeah, I think you can. He's looked pretty good. You're not going to get any use of him this week, of course, in case you need that. But going forward, I don't think Kenneth Gainwell stole the job. It might be a little bit more of a committee, but Jaylen Warren also looked awesome before he went down.
If it's a committee in the run game, it's one thing, but Jaylen Warren, I think at least 2 out of the previous 3 weeks, he led the team in receptions. Mm-hmm. So that's major for PPR.
Yeah. I'm 100% in. If you 40 fab, if your league is pretty savvy, might not be enough, honestly.
Fair. Well, somebody dropped him apparently. So
yeah, that's true. That is true. Look around. Yeah, so I think the Steelers had a pretty strong showing. Their defense wasn't necessarily great. The Vikings offense was just not doing well. Carson Wentz looked really bad in the beginning of this game. He was throwing picks. He just didn't look
Yeah.
like he had it. And then, of course, one person I actually do want to talk about real quick on this game, Jordan Addison. Jordan
Yeah.
Addison comes back after suspension, and it wasn't all perfect, but he was heavily involved. If you have
He,
Addison, you should be happy.
he was much more involved than TJ Hawkinson, who just is
Mhm,
kind of fallen off. Maybe not
mhm.
much more, but everything considered, it was like he had over 100 yards. I mean, that's
And
good.
one thing I noticed too with JJ McCarthy, because they might go back to JJ McCarthy soon. It sounds like he's getting healthy.
Mhm.
JJ McCarthy in that first game, at the very least against the Bears, he really wanted to throw to this wide receiver too, Naylor, and he just kept missing him. If you make his wide receiver two a little bit better, that's probably going to be a very successful connection.
I like it.
So Addison, I think, is a very nice piece moving forward.
Not quite the same because he's a different position. But last year, we were kind of down on James Cook and I guess JSN because they were really buoyed by touchdowns. And with Addison, it was kind of the same idea going into this draft.
Hmm.
Even regardless of his suspension, it was like,
Hmm.
well, he had so many points because he was getting so many touchdowns. And we've seen other players do it. I think it's absolutely, if his offense clicks, it's absolutely reasonable to expect Addison to get like 12 touchdowns. I mean, why doubt it? Why doubt it at this point?
Yeah, really. Like seriously. Commanders Falcons. This is one of those games that I didn't actually watch a ton of. The Commanders just kind of got destroyed by the Falcons. The Falcons do this every once in a while. It's shocking to me that they can go from scoring 0 against the Panthers to then just destroying the Commanders.
They're one of the most volatile teams like in the NFL. And another example, just like the Seahawks and Vikings game, this was a game that was not particularly close, even though the score shows it. The Falcons really did dominate most of this game. Bijan is like the safest player in fantasy. I love
Yeah,
having him.
yeah.
Like
Hmm.
this game, he actually like went nuclear and had nearly 30 points, but he's not scored less than I think 18 points in 4 weeks. And that's including the week that they put up a donut against the Panthers. So super safe.
I mean, this is what we were saying preseason when I said he should be the first overall pick. This is wise because he's a really talented guy on a team that really needs to use him.
Yeah.
Algier had a heck of a game too, and it did. They kind of just ran all over the Commanders.
I want to make an observation that going into even like last week of the rest of the season, it didn't really click. And this is no disrespect to David Montgomery, but I feel like people give too much credit to Montgomery capping Gibbs' upside when Algier is in a lot of ways nearly as talented, or at least getting as many carries as David Montgomery. I hate to say it, but really he is. Like I feel like Algier and Montgomery are on a very similar level as are Bijan and Gibbs.
Well,
Uh,
and it drives me crazy is how everyone was so and I'm including myself here. Everyone was so mad at Arthur Smith for giving Tyler Algier carries, but then Arthur Smith leaves and everyone just pretends that it's not happening still.
yeah, and he had the same amount of carries as Bijan this week. Same amount.
And he looked great. He really did. He was running down the field. I mean, like there is this world where if this happens like 1 or 2 more weeks, Algier's going to be a player you're going to want to play. I mean, the Falcons are running the ball. They can't win the game with just Penix. We've seen that now.
Yeah.
Although Drake London did come back alive.
He did, and also Algier. I mean, he is capped. I mean, again, similar to Montgomery, he doesn't catch passes like Bijan does. I just think if you have faith in Montgomery, you should have faith in Algier.
We'll move on. Chargers Giants. I don't really want to talk about this game a lot more.
No.
The Chargers. You got a Lad McConkey had a bunch of drops. I do think he'll get his day soon. I don't think that they're just going to ghost him out of this offense.
He's got some yips. I think Quentin Johnson is just. I'm ready to accept that he's great.
See, here's the thing: is that as soon as everyone's ready to accept he's great, that's when he turns into a pumpkin again.
Well, we'll see. He's looked really good.
He does look really good. I'm an AFC West fan. This is my issue. Yeah, Quentin Johnston is the guy. You're not going to get him off of whatever team has him. So whatever team has him is going to enjoy it, and you're just going to hope because he's getting peppered with targets, and they're not all short range targets; they're long range targets too, and he's catching them. So what do you do?
I was clowning in my league. Shout out Sage. He like dropped a bunch of fab on Quentin Johnson, and I was like kind of making fun of him for it. Like, come on, it's just he had a good couple weeks, but no, I mean he was right. Like this guy is a focal point of his offense, as is Hampton, who is love Hampton. Damn.
Okay, we're talking about the game right now, so I'll throw this question up here: Chase Brown or Wandale in the flex PPR? So this is going for this upcoming week. The Bengals play the Lions this week, if I remember correctly. Yes, and I
Yes.
really don't want part of that. Now, Wandale isn't also that exciting to me. If you are an underdog, you play Wandale. I don't see a world right now in which Chase Brown blows up. He might get you like a safe PPR, like 8 to 10. And that's hopeful because right now the Bengals look lost.
Wandale, I mean, he is, at least in terms of depth charts, he's the de facto wide receiver 1 on the Giants right now. And they're playing the Saints. So I like Wandale. I would pick Wandale.
And yeah, I wasn't as confident about it, but I also would pick Wandale. So Wandale is the guy you want to go for. And that sucks. Trust me, I have Chase Brown. That sucks. Feels bad, but it's the truth right now. Titans, Texans. Texans just the Titans couldn't do anything really. Texans looked fine. Woody Marks is going to be a thing if they're ahead this much and they can run him. And Woody Marks looked pretty good.
I do want to mention that Woody Marks, I think he can take over Nick Chubb as the RB1, but the reason he looks so good is because they have the ability to run the ball.
Yeah, they were up in this game, and the Titans just like laid over for them. That was a poor showing for the Titans on all facets. Okay, Joey Sly. Everyone starts paying attention to the number 2 overall kicker in the league, and he misses 2 field goals in the first quarter. Like what?
Bad.
Snake bitten, dude. Just snake bitten. So the Titans, it's not always going to be that bad for them. There's definitely a lot of growing that Cam Ward and the team needs to do, but it's not all on him.
It's not. He's looked all right. I think Callahan's gone Monday, honestly.
I wouldn't be shocked. Callahan is like he shifted the play calling duties to the QB coach, which I've been paying attention for a long time, and I don't remember anyone shifting play calling duties to the QB coach.
I mean, is that the new interim head coach? Like at this point, probably.
Like get your dad in here, get Pops, who's doing I think the offensive line coaching, just get him to do the whole entire coaching at this point.
That wouldn't shock me. I mean, it's kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, his dad is a great O-line coach that is probably the most seasoned coach on that team. So,
yeah. But no, that wouldn't shock me. Like I didn't have a lot of faith in the Callahans just from experience as a Raiders fan. Now that's not fair. That was like 20 years ago. There's been a lot of time for that, but it just looks so bad. It's just got to be so just all of the words you can say for it: humiliating, debilitating, deflating, bad.
I do want to say one thing about Cam Ward and how he's been like one of the least discussed number 1 overall picks, at least in terms of quarterbacks, like maybe ever. And the fact I've not heard the media talking about him at all. Like he's looked like decent. I mean, not great, but he's looked pretty good. He's shown flashes, but no one's talking about it.
It is hilarious. The Titans totally get forgot.
Yes.
In these AFC South matchups are all kind of nasty right now. So I think that with Cam, what I was watching is that he's throwing the ball so hard the ball's popping off of all of his receivers' fingertips. And I think that's something he can learn how to do because the skill is still there. It's just about learning how to slow it down a little bit, which would be great because Alec Aomenor had a whole bunch of drops in this game that I don't really necessarily feel like were his fault. Calvin Ridley is just a ghost of himself right now.
He's been in Nashville too long. He's over it.
Yeah, and then Tajay Spears is in theory maybe back this week.
I'm not sure if it's confirmed, but he's eligible to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're ramping him up. They've activated his window.
The last thing I wanted to say is that Cam Ward, I believe, is QB 34 or 35 on the season. He's below Carson Wentz and like a few guys that have only played 2 games.
Yikes.
Yikes.
They have to score points for him to score points. I don't know that they'll figure it out right away, but the Texans are a great defense. We talked about that a lot, and it showed. Eagles, Bucks. Eagles still don't throw the ball. They just don't care. They won 31-25. Oh, Emeka Egbuka is the truth.
He really is. Also, it is kind of sucky for the Eagles, and it doesn't seem like it would be the case. But they're running the ball so much. Saquon's not been the best fantasy player this year. He hasn't looked bad, but he hasn't been doing much for fantasy, and he's like barely in the top 20, I think. It's like an RB2 right now, maybe a little higher, but it's not where you drafted him.
No, their defense is looking really good again, and they're just leaning on it. They're leaning pretty heavy on it. Chris Godwin got 10 targets. He didn't do much with it this game, but if you have Godwin or if you have someone who was willing to trade Godwin for cheap because they didn't watch it, I would say he's definitely someone you should go out and try to get.
He's on my list this week, and again, I'm a big proponent of targets, and 10 targets in this game is substantial. That shows that Mayfield trusts him, and he's, even though it didn't work out this game, like I like Godwin a lot going forward.
Bucky Irving got hurt, which means you're going to see more of Rashad White or Sean Tucker. Probably both. It's going to be a downgrade in some ways. It just is what it is. You don't go against the Eagles all that often, and the Eagles are a very right now unique team in that, again, they get the lead. They have a great defense. They can just run the ball out for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Panthers got destroyed by the Patriots. Just dominated 100%, 42-13. If you had a Patriots player, who missed out on touchdowns? Because I know Hunter Henry got one. I know Travion Henderson got one. I'm pretty sure Stephon Diggs got one.
Trayvon, I think that Ramondre missed out on a touchdown.
Ramondre missed out. Did Antonio Gibson get one? I think he did, right?
He did, yeah. And then Drake May and Trayvon also got rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, so the Patriots came out and they just destroyed the Panthers. T-Mac Teteroa is like this really frustrating fantasy asset right now where I think you have to still keep playing with him because he looks good and he's getting a lot of volume, but unfortunately it's not turning into anything because he's not being used near the red zone. Yeah. And it's like medium to short yardage passes. It just kind of sucks. But what else are the, he has to pop off if the Panthers are going to win a game.
Bryce Young is also continuing this trend of having a really a decent enough completion percentage and then barely throwing for 100 yards and having no rushing upside. Like this was better than he did last week, I think, against the Falcons, unbelievably. But he went 18 of 30 for 150 yards and a touchdown. Like,
yeah, that's kind of ugly. You don't like that.
And your downs, you're going to be throwing a lot, and he's still not throwing many yards.
Bills beat the Saints 31-19. This game was closer than it sounds like because the Saints really were ahead, I think, in the fourth quarter at some point.
Yeah, they were.
The Saints looked pretty good, all things considered, and it was because I didn't really think that the Bills looked bad. This wasn't like a game where they came out and they just laid an egg. It looked like the Saints really, really wanted to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
Kendry Miller is coming alive, and Alvin Kamara is in a committee at this point.
Yeah, it's really looking like it. I mean, he's just decreasing. He doesn't really look washed. He's just been decreasing in usage pretty much every week.
Yeah, and that seems to make sense. If you're gonna be a losing team at this point, what's the point of like running Kamara into the ground if you have him on a long-term contract? There's just not.
Yeah,
especially as the pass catching back, you don't want him out there and then to tear an ACL. Especially when you have Kendry Miller, who according to Dennis Allen, has never seen a football field before. And Dennis Allen is gone. He's with the Bears now, so don't worry. That's not going to happen again. But Khalil Shakir looked pretty good on the Bills. Him and Keon Coleman, I think, are going to be really annoying receivers to own because I think they're just going to rotate.
It literally, it's just like who's the guy this week? And Dalton, you can throw Dalton Kincaid in there too. Who, by the way, misleadingly is like tight end 6. This week he went 1 reception for 28 yards and a touchdown.
It was a nice looking touchdown, and it was a very important one. But I agree. Like, it's just the volume's out there, and Dawson Knox is still out there running routes, so it's gonna be frustrating.
Josh Allen and James Cook. You can start a Khalil Shakir and Keon on a bye week, maybe even a Josh Palmer if you need to start somebody, but they're not a player you trot out every week.
You're gonna, even in plus matchups, you're gonna have a difficult time figuring out which one it is because no one knows except for the Bills and whatever their game planning.
Yeah.
Browns Lions 10-34. Their Lions shellacked the Browns. Gosh, man, Joe Flacco looked just the worst.
Yeah,
but they're now, okay, we'll talk about it in a second. Lions look great. What are you gonna do? David Montgomery had a bad game. We called to sit him. We both called to sit him.
and he had
Fantastic call. I hope you did.
yeah.
Um, but everyone else did fine.
Like
So
look at everyone else. Yeah, he was the one that really got stifled by the Browns defense. Like
I guess Jameson Williams too.
uh yeah, he did. That was just like he had like 7 targets again. It's just like him and Goff are just not connecting on those deep passes. Um Amon-Ra, Gibbs are like top 5 overall players in the league for fantasy. Also, there was one Brown, but again this week I do got to shout out Quinshawn Judkins is still looking great.
Scored
Like
their only touchdown.
scored their only touchdown. He had almost 100 yards against the Lions in a game where they were down, and he caught like 4 or 5 passes. He's looking like legit.
Yeah, so Quinshawn Judkins, I have him in the same league I took Chase Brown, and I just assumed that I'm just pretending that Quinshawn Judkins was the guy who I took in my second round, and that
Yeah,
Chase Brown was my 10th rounder. You know what I mean? Like they were okay.
it's
Quinshawn looks awesome though. He's got strength, he's got speed. What he has though that I think is keeping him relevant even in these hard games is he's got good vision. He's hitting the right holes consistently.
yeah. He plays well. It's not just like he's out there and he has power. He plays well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think we talked about it like early on when I saw him for the first time, and I said he goes slow at first. He reminds me of Le'Veon Bell a little bit in his way that he like kind of diagnose. Yeah, diagnosis is not the right word, but it's what I'm going to use right now. He like looks and finds the hole before he sprints through it, and it's working.
yeah,
So this is one of those like just because of the raw skill that he's showing me, I don't think he's going to drop off. In even bad games, he's got a great chance at a touchdown every single week.
it's still early, but I think that if he keeps this up rest of the season, he's going to be like a 2nd-round pick in drafts next year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Jaguars. Oh, I guess we should talk about Jerry Jeudy. No, I don't really want to. This was a bad game for them. Yeah,
We'll talk about him later.
Jaguars 49ers. The Jaguars. Everyone's saying that they shocked the 49ers, but the 49ers are so injured. I don't see how you can actually get shocked at this point by the Jaguars. So the Jaguars defense has had multiple turnovers every game. The Jaguars defense looks legit. If you really look at it at a macroscope, this defense is doing great.
It's also the number 1 fantasy defense, which is misleading. I would not start them this week against the Chiefs, but they are getting multiple turnovers, and it looks good. It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Lloyd is like having a depoy kind of year.
And I did, I think like 2 weeks ago or last week, say that I didn't think the Jaguars defense was good. I think I'm just wrong, and that's life. But so now if you're looking at the Jaguars offense, we have the same issues with Trevor Lawrence. They just continue to kind of keep being there. Brian Thomas Jr. looked a little bit better this week, but it didn't lead you to a whole lot of fantasy success.
No.
Travis Hunter is the most unfortunate, exciting player to own because he's just never on the field when you really want a good play out of him.
It's just it's frustrating. I mean, this is what was what I was worried about. Like he's gonna split, and he's splitting, and it looks like we'll see.
He has phenomenal mechanics as a receiver because he had, I think, one like 20-yard catch. There's not many of them, so you can probably find it pretty easy. He had one 20-yard catch where he was in traffic, high pointed the ball, caught it, and took a hit at the same time, and managed to hold on to it. And he looks so good. It's like, please just get out there.
Yeah, keep something, at least, break out somewhere, offense or defense.
Like, please. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you end up being the best quarterback on the team, then I don't think anyone's really that mad about it either ways. They're like, yeah, you're doing great. But if you're just okay at quarterback and okay at wide receiver, you're gonna get destroyed in the media. And I want him to work. I know what's gonna happen though. As soon as I finally decide I'm gonna drop this guy, he is going to finally be like, I am 100% a wide receiver now.
The NFL is so fluky. It's just if the Jags had the offense that we expected going into the season, coupled with this defense, they would be a Super Bowl contender easy. But their offense is just not getting there.
Mm-mm. And who knows? I mean, like their running game is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, their running game, their offensive line looks great right now. So you can't even blame like pressure or any of that on Trevor Lawrence and the offensive receiver miscues.
Yeah,
but that is also a good sign that they could figure it out.
Yeah,
this isn't like a mechanics issue where the coaching sucks or the offensive line is terrible and broken. This is something they could figure out. So like again, if you have someone who's still really, really low on Brian Thomas Jr. and you have the ability to hold him without needing him to be a superstar, try to go get him.
Yeah, he's one of my like guys to go get right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Colts Rams. Daniel Jones' first not great game, and not in his career, but this year
I was gonna say
he threw some picks. He had he should have had a good game. Adonai Mitchell really blew that for him.
here's the thing that kind of separates him at least a season from like a Bryce Young or even a Trevor Lawrence is that he had a down game. He threw some picks, but he still threw for like nearly 300 yards.
Well, and if you imagine if AD Mitchell had scored that touchdown instead of throwing it out the back of the end zone, that's 27-27. We could have been having a whole different conversation right now.
So he really didn't have a bad game. He went up against a hard defense, and he's still like his rushing was really bad. That's for sure. But
Tyler Warren looked great.
He did. He had that rushing touchdown too.
Yeah, I think this was like his best game of the season easily. He looked like he was. He just looks like he's going to be a dominant player at some point, if not already there. Yeah, the Rams, Puka Nacua is just he's the best. I don't even think we have to talk about him much. He's just the best.
He has the first receiving touchdown of the year.
Scores, drops a casual 36 in PPR, and I don't think that's even his ceiling.
No, here's next year, Nick. We gotta be on the players like Puka, where we're just like the gut feeling of like he's maybe a first or second rounder, but he could go higher. Like I'm gonna run with it next year because I was so excited about Puka, and he's surpassed my expectations.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about Puka a lot and how much we each liked him, but I don't think we beat the drum hard enough.
No,
that's and this is the thing. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh, all the fantasy analysts say the same thing, it's because at some point you do kind of feel like someone knows more than you do. But maybe they don't. Maybe they're all just anyway. So the Rams look great. Kyron Williams actually had, I think, a pretty. I don't know, like his fantasy ending was as good as he looked. He looked pretty solid in this game.
Blake Corum's getting more involved.
That might be good for both of them. I think
it could be. Yeah. Kyron's still the one I think likely to get a touchdown. And Devontae Adams, I think, has a touchdown on almost every single game, and he just again red zone monster, PPR.
They're not going to stop doing that. They have no reason to stop doing it. Every time they get in the red zone, they're just going to keep tossing the ball at Devontae. So you like these teams. We're going to talk about Bears Raiders. Me and Willie already talked about this. So Willie Willie's the Bears fan. I'm the Raiders fan clearly, and the Raiders did what I would assume they would do, and they found a way to lose it. But they made you wait all 4 quarters to resign. Like it was the last few seconds of the game before they found a way to lose it. Congrats to the Bears. Roma Dunze keeps doing his thing.
He really is like he's really breaking out. He's really breaking out.
Caleb, I think, didn't have like the craziest game, but it wasn't terrible. Gino had an awful game.
The Bears offense is not capitalizing on the Bears defense getting those turnovers, or maybe rather Gino giving them those turnovers. It's like the offense for the Bears. It's the offense and defense have flipped like week by week. It's like one has been really good, the other's been It's like they haven't been on the same page, and it kind of reminds me of the Jaguars, with the exception that the offense reminds me a lot of the Jaguars, where there's a lot of potential, there's a lot of pieces, but there's only like one player on the offense that's the superstar, like Rome and Travis Etienne, and the rest of the offense is there, but it's not gelling yet. So they remind me of the Jags that way. So again, that's never like. I think Rome is maybe peaking right now, but there are. I don't know. I don't know if there's ever players that are gonna like ascend on this offense, but I think the offense is gonna get better.
I think that there's still room for growth for DJ Moore. I don't think he's just like completely out of the rotation guy. Like Rome's doing his thing right now, and I don't think that there's a reason to move away for that until it stops working.
Yeah.
But if it does stop working, DJ Moore's out there. It's not like he's looked bad. He just hasn't been necessary, and his role's a little strange right now.
Yeah.
But like, let's talk about a strange role in Ben Johnson's offense. That's not the worst role to have. You know what I mean? Like, strange role means you're going to get your play called.
Maybe Moore will be throwing touchdowns like Amon Ra at some point.
Yeah, exactly. They'll figure out a way to get him going if like the Rome connection slows down even.
Mm, yeah.
Ashton Genty became the first round pick you hoped he would be.
Oh yeah.
Uh, everyone's attributing it to a stance change. I think this could as easily be attributed to the fact that the Bears defense does have holes in it, and this is the one that worked. The Raiders offensive line looked better. Jackson Powers Johnson coming back did make it better. You got to love that for everyone. And if you want to buy in on the Raiders in any way, here's the question you have to ask yourself. Do you think that Geno Smith is real, like what he's showing right now is what Geno Smith will be for the season, or do you think he can get out of whatever's going on? He has 7 interceptions. He's leading the NFL in interceptions. Every time they look over at him on the sidelines, he just looks pissed.
Mm.
I have to hope that it's a funk, and if he can get through it, then this team will like have an uptick in productivity. But you can't win when you're throwing 3 interceptions.
No, you can't. I mean, I want to say he's going to get better, but it's hard to say.
It is hard to say. And it's the craziest part is it always seems he stinks in domes right now, which is where everyone was saying he was perfect at beforehand. He got future jinxed.
Maybe he's just in his head.
It's gotta be. He's like, this is my opportunity to come to a new team, show that it was real, and now he's just really blowing it. That's gotta feel bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that Pete Carroll can like hit him, but not sock him in the jaw too hard. I was going for a joke here, and I think it's just I'm bombing it, so I'm gonna move on.
I want to say really quick. I love every time he's pissed. Like you just cut away to Pete Carroll. It's like chewing his gum. Like it's so funny.
It's entertaining,
Yeah.
and like here's the thing: is this is the Raiders you get. All right, trust me, as a Raiders fan forever. I'm still rocking the gear. Like this is the Raiders you get. You get this Raiders team that shows potential at certain times, and then will ultimately let you down in the worst way possible.
Yep, I'm shocked the Bears and the Raiders aren't the teams that tied because they're both really good at that.
Yeah, because the Bears really gave the Raiders a chance to win that game. They really did. They handed it to them. They're like, "Here you go. Here's a minute and a half. You get into field goal range. You go win this."
Yep.
And then we did it. And then we're like, "Yeah, but we don't block your defenders, so figure out how to lose that." We'll move on. Ravens, Chiefs. Chiefs select the Ravens. Xavier Worthy is apparently the MVP of this offense because he came back and that offense immediately looked a million times better.
And I want to give credit to the offense, not just the Ravens' bad defense, because the offense looked great with Worthy in there. He was like the leading rusher and the leading receiver, and he just looks dynamic. I mean, this is basically his first game of the season, and he comes back looking like that. That's something to get excited about.
I think what this tells me is that the Chiefs, their offense is predicated on having speed, and right now they've got a bunch of old receivers or just old receivers and running backs that aren't, like Isaiah Pacheco. Just his leg got destroyed last year, and he came back, but like he's probably lost something. He's never the fastest guy. I think Kareem Hunt's old.
Yeah,
It's just a really old offense. They need speed, and as soon as they have speed, it unlocks everything for them.
we've only seen. Okay, actually, no, we've never seen Rice and Worthy at their full potential together because. I mean, Rice got injured last year when Worthy was just a rookie, just getting acclimated, and then Worthy and Rice has been suspended. So, in a few weeks, when Rice and Worthy are on the field together, I would get very excited about Mahomes as my fantasy QB, and he's somebody that I would target. Not that you would necessarily get him in a trade, but he's someone to go out and look for.
And if they do start working on Brashard Smith a little bit more, their rookie running back, I think that'll also elevate the offense a little bit. Because right now, Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco just aren't really getting it done, and they don't look great. So it's a combination of like it's not just the scheme; it's just that also these guys are just they look slow.
Yeah, it's just they look old.
It's the thing. Packers Cowboys 40-40 tie. I'm sorry I told anyone to start the Green Bay defense last week. I really thought that it was going to be a thing, but apparently the Cowboys are as petty and as scrappy as Micah Parsons is petty and scrappy.
Yeah, that's fair. But you were completely right about another player you told people to start.
Yeah, okay. This is my favorite call of last week, guys. This is one where I hope someone listened to this because I did. And I thought it was a massive mistake that I had made, but it turned out it wasn't. As I started Romeo Dobbs. I'm calling him Dubs. You know what? You get the Dubs treatment. And he had a hat trick. He got 3 touchdowns in this game. He was the right one. Like I said, you had to throw your dart, and I was throwing my dart at Romeo, and Romeo came through for me.
Really, really did. I mean, he had a career game, and again, it was against a not great defense, but he's still you can't dismiss that. I mean, he looked awesome.
He showed up Sunday night. He did the thing. He really made it work, and I'm so happy. I really hope someone heard what I said and started Romeo Dubs, because if you did, you were so glad. Otherwise, I think these teams are kind of static. Otherwise, like, you're gonna play Josh Jacobs. I'm not saying play Romeo Dubs every week. It didn't turn into that. Trust me. That's not the Packers' offense. That's not the way this works.
I think we saw that he has the equal upside as a Keon Coleman, in my opinion, where he's not going to be the guy every week, but he has. I think that him and Keon are probably about the same value, at least if Jaden Reed out.
Yep. And then with the Cowboys, it's you're gonna start Javonte right now because he's killing it. You're gonna start Jake Ferguson. You're gonna start Pickens. They're careful with Tolbert. I know that he scored some points, but you have to recognize this is a 40-40 overtime tie.
Yeah, that's a good way.
And it wasn't a lot of points. So this is a good defense, but Tolbert, I think don't chase the points too hard. If you need a spot start, this offense is looking pretty good. He could be a guy who could get you points, but don't get fooled by this. This wasn't some game where he came in and he really dominated his spot. He just showed up for a few moments in a forever long game.
And that's him. That's usually him on the Cowboys. He just shows up for some moments.
Jets Dolphins 21-27. Tyreek destroyed his knee. The guy, this is 21-27, but my goodness, did the Jets just look completely inept for the full first half of this game? And I don't want to understate it. Like, they looked so bad.
So bad.
You were lucky one that Justin Fields can make crazy plays. Otherwise, this game wouldn't be nearly as close as it was.
And he came back as a fantasy QB this week, tenfold.
But if you watched that game, you didn't feel good about that tenfold. You felt really bad about it. Because, gosh, man, something's got to give on that offense.
You did feel good about garbage time Garrett Wilson, though. I mean, I think he's top 10 rest of the season for me, for sure. I mean, the amount of attention he gets and what he turns it into it's pretty legit. And Mason Taylor had a good game. Mason Taylor had a good game too.
Mason Taylor had a good game. I was making some decisions, and maybe you'll disagree with me on this. The one issue I have with Mason Taylor, as far as like adding him, which he could be a really good stash, but if you add him and you want to play him as a tight end, you're gonna have to rely on the Jets.
Yeah,
and I would be so scared to do that right now.
I forgot to mention the other injury I was thinking of was Braylon Allen. He's out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And that changes things for Breece Hall, especially because Breece was very involved in the passing game this game, and he also looked great. Him and Justin Fields had 81 yards each.
Breece Hall was almost criminally underused in this game, because if they had leaned on Breece Hall more in the first half, they might have actually won this game. But instead, they were like, "Here you go, Justin. Go throw this ball," and Justin would just do some really like terrible looking throw to nothing. Breece needs to be part of that offense more if they want to win. And guess what? So we'll talk about the next week matchup, but it's wonderful. You're gonna love it. Dolphins players, Darren Waller is the thing, and you might as well buy into it. Jonnu Smith was the thing last year on that team. Pretty,
I if Tyreek Hill was not injured, I wouldn't buy into it, because I don't see Waller as good as Jonnu. But I mean, with Tyreek out, it's got to be somebody.
I'm going to celebrate. I got my first win in my dynasty league because I've had Darren Waller on my bench all year.
Oh my god,
it's a bad team. It's a bad team. I sold out my soul to get into a championship, and it's been bad ever since. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, he got 2 touchdowns. I won a game because Darren Waller scored. But you should watch it because they're going to need someone. Mike McDaniel does like his tight ends, which is just a whole great sentence to say out loud. And Tyreek Hill is out. Tyreek Hill was a part of this game plan, and he was doing pretty good too.
Yeah.
Until he destroyed his knee. I told you to sit Tyreek Hill. I didn't trust it. This isn't the reason why I thought it would go bad.
Because you knew he was going to destroy his knee, Nick.
Unfortunately, like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I just made a guess, but doctors wouldn't have known either. Okay, last game of the week we're gonna talk about Bengals Browns. Oh nope, I called them Bengals Browns. That's not right. Bengals Broncos. Broncos won 28-3. If you have someone on the Bengals, don't do it like I do and watch the games. Turn it off. Don't look. If you play them, don't watch. It's not worth it. It only hurts your sanity.
I can't be completely out on Jamar Chase. I can't. Maybe it's a sunk cost fallacy, even though I'm not invested in him in fantasy. And we've seen the curse of the one-on-one in fantasy. So this is coming to fruition as it always does. I want to believe he's QB proof so bad because he's so talented. It's just bad.
This is the game that made sense for Jamar Chase to have a bad game because Pat Surtain's on the other side. This is a good pass defense. The issue is that the D line and linebackers are supposed to be maybe like the weakest core of this group, and the Bengals offensive line isn't just bad. They're not just like bad. They're truly. I don't think they're football players. I think they're people who don't actually know what game they're playing. Because if you watch it, they just weren't blocking anyone.
It's like they were just mentally checked out or something. Like it's bad. It's bad.
Mm-hmm. Like, so let's say you have any players on this team, you have to hope. So T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, they're going to get their opportunities. There will be games where they actually are able to connect because apparently the whole entire play calling for the Bengals is 3-step drop back, throw a jump ball to T. Higgins, and throw a jump ball to Jamar Chase. It doesn't matter how covered they're, just throw the jump ball.
Just do it, yeah.
It's so ugly. And then, maybe like run with Chase Brown for 2 yards once or twice. I will say this. I didn't think Chase Brown looked bad. I think the offense looked bad.
Yeah, he's not.
I don't know what that.
Yeah, he's not able to get his. It's just
if they teach Jake Browning how to do dump offs appropriately, Chase Brown will actually start returning value because he was open in the flat a lot, and then you would just see Jake Browning just toss it 30 yards for no reason. You're like, okay, you could take the 6 yards that you have in front of you, or you could toss it into double coverage for Jamar Chase. It's not necessarily the worst idea when I say it out loud, but it didn't go well.
Yeah, they gotta get it working if they're gonna do it.
Either that or fire Zach Taylor. Like, please get him out of here. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to finally get rid of Zach Taylor.
Here's the thing that always happens is that, well, it's looking like, okay, the Bengals are starting out bad. Maybe they're gonna fire, and then Joe Burrow gets injured, so management's like, oh, well, never mind. They're bad because Joe Burrow's not in. Oh man, I feel bad for Bengals fans. It's just
this is with Bengals fans. It's different than like these other bad fandoms. Like as the Raiders fan, I know that the ownership is trying. I know they're trying. They're just stupid, but they're trying. They're trying their hearts out. With the Bengals fans, you can't imagine your ownership's even trying. They're just like, yeah, Zach, I don't care. I don't want to get rid of him. Just keep him going because they have like some of the greatest offensive pieces you could have, and they can't figure out how to get an offensive line around it. And then they can't figure out how to game plan around quick slants to these guys. Like, what are you doing? Don't throw this out jump ball. Quick slant it to Jamar Chase every play if you have to.
It's just lazy.
It's so lazy. It's so stupid. You don't watch the Bengals. If you're a Broncos fan, RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins look good. This isn't the game that I'm gonna like crown either of them.
This is the game where I will crown excitement for RJ Harvey rest of the season. I think that maybe we've mentioned this before, but he feels like a league winner in the sense that he's the player that's like maybe like a Bucky Irving last year, where he really comes out, at the back half of the season and like explodes. I think that not that he's necessarily similar to Bucky, but he is a pass catching back. He's similar kind of style, and I could see him becoming this year's Bucky.
Yeah, and J.K. Dobbins did look great.
He really did. Yeah, I mean, again, full credit to the Broncos offense, not just the Bengals defense, because Dobbins did look great.
I'm gonna have this question right now because it's related to Jamar Chase. So before we get too far deep into the Broncos, I offer Jamar Chase and Breece Hall for Hampton. So I assume that you have Hampton, and someone's offering you Jamar Chase and Hall. I'm saying stick with Hampton right now, unless you absolutely need wide receiver depth.
I really do like Breece. Again, it's the Jets, but I really do like Breece Hall rest of season. I do really, really like Hampton, but I don't know. I think my Jamar Chase belief bias is clouding me here, I would take that. You get 2 players for the price of 1.
Yeah, I'm more worried with the Jets about Fields, honestly. So it's not Brees Hall himself, it's that I don't know that Fields can continue to make the mistakes he's making and have this offense. Like they ended up clicking okay, but that's because the Dolphins aren't actually a really like great team either.
Yeah, yeah.
If they go against a good team, they're just gonna get dominated, and then it's gonna be all Garrett Wilson all the time. And then Jamar Chase, the Bengals will get better too, but I am having a hard time seeing a world in which Hampton doesn't end up as just a top 12 running back.
He feels pretty locked into. I mean, he's just exploded. I mean, he's been
Mhm,
incredible the 2 weeks he started, and as a Hampton owner and like as someone that we hyped him up quite a bit, it feels good.
mhm. So that's where I'm at. I think you could shake this either which way, but I'm on the side of Hampton. It sounds like you're on the side of Chase and Hall. So
It's close. It's look at your team, yeah, and just kind of go from
mhm,
there.
mhm.
Yeah.
If you need the receiver, like if you absolutely need the receiver, you're out here starting some waiver wire nonsense like myself. I'm
Mhm.
starting Malik Washington. In my case, I probably would take Jamar Chase because I need a receiver bad.
Exactly.
If you don't need a receiver and you're actually starting players that have existed on fantasy teams for a long time, I say stick with Hampton.
Yeah, I like that.
Um,
Um,
Cortland Sutton is awesome.
it's
I'm
good.
so happy
Yes.
about that call. So far, it's been pretty good.
He looks really good. He is just so involved in him. And Bo Nix have such good chemistry. They picked up right where they left off last year, and I think he might be even scoring more touchdowns on a per game basis than he was last year, especially at this point.
Mhm.
Um, he just feels like he's locked into a touchdown most weeks, and yeah, he's just great. He's yeah, I think he's
He's very sure-handed too right now, which with you see Troy Franklin ascending a little bit, right? And that's an okay thing for a wide receiver two to ascend on a team. That doesn't necessarily mean the wide receiver one falls off all the
mm,
way. But the one thing that I love is that Troy Franklin has dropped a few passes. It's not been terrible, but he has dropped a few passes, whereas Cortland Sutton seems to catch everything that hits him in the hands.
yep.
Um, there's the Broncos will have competitive games, but even in this non-competitive game from basically the start, they still ended up getting Cortland Sutton a touchdown.
I,
Yeah,
I think he's like wide receiver 10 right now, and I don't see him dropping below a mid wide receiver 2.
no, this is exactly what I was hoping to see when I made the choice to make him my doinker. Uh, was just that this offense was going to stay good and they were going to use him from the beginning of the year this way as opposed to waiting until halfway through.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the games for the week. So we've covered everything. For the upcoming games,
Boy.
let's yeah we'll talk. I don't know. I'm deliberating right now. In case you're wondering, if you're sitting here listening, going like, what has happened here? I'm deliberating. Um, we've talked
Well,
about a few of these
you,
teams.
you want me to start my nuclear boys and then give you some time to.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll talk about our nuclear boys or starts. This we have a new category in here, so go ahead, start us off.
Yeah, so we have a new category we'll get to in a sec, but the nuclear boys and is a category to define it basically is a player you're going to start every week regardless. He's going to be one of your starters. Like he's maybe your wide receiver 1, 2, doesn't matter. This is a player that we predict is going to have an especially incredible game, or maybe even a player that's like hasn't been that great this season, but pretty good, and this is like their big breakout game. So my nuclear boys this week, number 1 is Nico Collins, going up against the Ravens defense for one. I don't trust the Texans offense to be up against the Ravens defense, that much, even with Cooper Russian. So they're still going to need to rely on Nico to, keep up with the Ravens. So I really like him to just really explode against the Ravens and get a touchdown or two and just get heavily targeted because he is the explosive play on this team. It's not Woody Marks. I mean, Woody Marks is great, but that was against the Titans. Nico is this offense. And then my other guy, I mean, you can handpick really any of the main guys on this team, but it's my number one's Amon Ra against the Bengals. Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta. Yeah. Yeah. That's enough said.
You're gonna see that we're thinking in a similar vein here. So my nuclear boy is here. My first one I'm gonna start with is also in that same game, also on that same team, because there's no way I'm going with the Bengal on this. David Montgomery, because I think that they are just gonna destroy the Bengals, because the Bengals haven't shown a sign of life, and until they do, I won't believe that it exists. And I don't believe in Zach Taylor for a second. So this is the game right after David Montgomery had probably his worst game, maybe of his career. 9 for 12, terrible against a great
You
defense.
told me to sit him, so hopefully you did.
Please, yeah. He's going to come back with a vengeance, and he's going to just dominate this a defense that, even if they have moments where they've looked better than last year, which I think is the case, if they're on the field 90% of the game, it doesn't matter. David Montgomery's going to score a touchdown. I can almost guarantee it. If I could guarantee anything in football, that would be probably the closest to a guarantee I can make, because David Montgomery's going to get you a touchdown this week.
I like it.
And then my second start of the week is in another game that's probably not shocking that I'd choose a start of the week. I'm choosing Garrett Wilson from the New York Jets as my second nuclear boy, because they're going against the Cowboys. It's that, like, Garrett Wilson has been awesome, first off, so no shock there. Second off, someone against the Cowboys blows up every week.
The Cowboys are such a great match, not just because they're a bad defense, but because their offense is so good. They're still scoring points. So you're going to have to, not only are you going up against a bad defense where you can score, you're going to have to keep scoring points. And that's just start.
Garrett Wilson's going to be so much fun. I mean, you could have put Breece Hall here too and took your shot, but it doesn't really matter. Garrett Wilson he gets his no matter what, and he's going to get a lot of his this week. If you have Garrett Wilson, you've got to be feeling great going into week 5.
Yeah, he's going to look good.
So, Willie, we got our new category next. Why don't you go ahead and explain that to us? Because you pitched it, and I'm happy to have it here. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so it's good starts gone great starts, GSGGS, and this is the idea. This is a player that you're playing most likely in your flex most weeks, maybe not every single week, but he's a good player that is getting starts like 80% of the time. But this is the week where this good player is going to become a great player and become a nuclear boy for at least 1 week. My first one is a guy that I think he was kind of injured for a bit. He might still be injured now. You play whoever is RB1 on the Panthers this week. It's most likely Chuba Hubbard. He started out the season really hot. I mean, he's kind of faded off the past couple weeks, but I expect him to go nuclear against the Dolphins' run defense. Panthers need to win a game. He's one of the most explosive players on the team. If he happens to be out, I've heard some rumors. Rico Dowdle is clearly the RB1 here, and he's also worth that start. And my second guy is the partner of Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields.
Yep.
He's so far, maybe he's been hard to trust. He had that great week 1, and then he was looking awful week 2 and got injured. And then he finally came back week 4, looked great. And this is my way of saying that he's going to look really great this week. And I mean, the Cowboys, look what they let Russell Wilson do. That's all I'm going to say. And look what they let Caleb Williams do. Jordan Love.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna enjoy it either way. I'm gonna call this Gas Guys, because it's not exactly the right acronym, but it just feels right.
I like it.
So my 2 this week, and I will answer your question real quick, Vod Nikki. It is live, as a matter of fact. Gas Guys. My first one's Michael Pittman Jr. from the Indianapolis Colts. So as a Raiders fan, I know that one thing is true. Their run defense is pretty good. But the rest of it can be pretty suspect. Their D-line can be great, but they're going against the Colts, who have an awesome O-line. I don't really expect it to be an issue, and I think they're going to get tore up through the air. And I think Michael Pittman's going to be a big part of that. So I think Michael Pittman is a guy that, if you at all had a set thought that you didn't want to play him, you definitely should. And then my second one is going to be Kyron Williams of the Rams, and that is this Thursday night game going against the 49ers. The 49ers are just decimated. I know they have good coaching, but Sean McVay is a better coach. I said it. You heard me say it. Than Kyle Shanahan, and I think the Rams defense is just going to eat the Niners alive. So I'm in on Kyron Williams. I think he's going to get some work.
I like it. The next one, this is what we were doing originally. This is gut check starts, but this, to be more categorical, is the kind of guy who you maybe have had on your bench more often than in the flex. Like, 75-80% of the time he's riding your bench, and he's the kind of guy that you want to plug in a week like this when there's a bye or injuries. And those are gut check starts. I got two here. One is Chris Godwin of the Bucks. He came back from that significant injury last week against the Eagles. Didn't have a very exciting game, but he looked good, and he got 10 targets. And I feel like in this matchup, going against the Seahawks, who have a pretty good secondary, I feel like this is probably going to be the game where Ibuka is shadowed more because we know he's a great receiver now, and the Seahawks can cover him. So I expect Chris Godwin to get some plays. I expect him to go catch more receptions on targets. So I think he had 10 targets for 3 receptions last week. I expect that to improve a lot this week. And then my other gut check start, this might be hard, but we talked earlier in this pod, we talked about the narrative and kind of like what the narrative looks like for the season. And, you're buying into players that have this built-in narrative about them, the media will like. And this player, well, I do want to say the de facto wide receiver 1 on this team is probably going to get locked up like Malik Neighbors was week 2 when the Chiefs just completely shut down Malik Neighbors, and Trent McDuffie was on him, shadowing him the whole time as a nickel.
Dude, I'm sorry. This is the craziest call of all time, Willie. I just can't believe it. But
I'm
go on.
going to double down here. So, in theory, that happens again with BTJ. I think Travis Hunter having his breakout game on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs is just an absolute dream of the NFL media. Like this is what they want so bad. And not going to say that's necessarily going to come to fruition, but I feel good about Travis Hunter being that sneaky, like big play wide receiver this week.
Man, this is making me feel certain ways. I've got Travis Hunter on my bench, and I've hated it, but like, man, there's something there. I like what you're saying. The narrative is real.
Yep.
Getting Travis Hunter's smiling face on the screen is going to be important to this league.
Big head, just beaming.
I mean, he's like the happiest looking dude I've ever seen.
He really is, yeah.
Okay, so my gut starts this week are gut starts, I think. And the first one I'm going to say isn't going to fill you with a lot of love. It's AJ Brown on the Philadelphia Eagles. I am saying to start him this week, and I will tell you this: it's not because it's a good matchup, because I think honestly, running is the way to beat the Broncos still.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen AJ Brown do this cryptic tweet, get mad at his team / quiet quit thing before, and every single time he does it, the team rewards him.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it again. He has some weird tweet out about how he's gonna just like, if they don't want you there, just leave. And I assume AJ Brown is not the happiest angry man in the world. So I don't know what happens. I don't really know what happens behind closed doors, but every time AJ Brown's cried about it, it's gone well for him, and I don't see another reason why it wouldn't. And this game should be competitive. The Broncos should keep it competitive with the Eagles. They shouldn't get just boat raced, so they're going to probably need to throw a little bit. Not a ton. They don't do that, but a little bit. And AJ Brown will catch something.
Nice. I like it.
My second one is, and I think we've gone to this well a couple times, and it's vaguely worked for us. My gut start here is Travion Henderson, and this is Travion Henderson with the Patriots going against the Bills. And you may be like, hey, so why wouldn't it be Ramondre or why wouldn't it be Antonio Gibson? I don't have a good answer for that. I believe in Travion Henderson's skills, and the Bills are a team that the Patriots can't just dominate. They're likely to be down, but the Bills defense hasn't exactly shown that they're capable of stopping the run in particular very well. So if they're down by a lot and they need to play catch up on Sunday Night Football and they're tossing, I just see a lot of checkdowns this week for the running backs. And I really think that it could be Travion Henderson on the side that ends up finally scoring his first breakaway in this game against the Bills, where they need to try to stay in it.
Mike Vrabel needs to recognize that in a divisional game like this, that dropping passes and checkdowns is just not an option. He needs to lean into the more reliable hands for this kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be so awful if Ramondre had a fumble against this Bills team, because the Bills aren't not going to score, so you can't give them the ball. And Travion Henderson hasn't exactly lit the world on fire, but it's been different issues each week in this awful committee.
Yeah.
I really think this is the one where he finally has a breakaway touchdown, and that's where you're gonna see the skill where y'all like, oh, everyone's gonna be like, oh, this guy's super fast.
I hope.
Hit us up with your sits.
All right, my sits. So this one, it just pains me. I feel like one of my worst calls. Okay, and this is because I really underestimated how bad the Titans offense was going to be. Because Tony Pollard is still getting the most carries of any running back, I believe, in the entire league right now. He, even with Tajay Spears coming back, like that will affect it, but he's getting like 85% of his snaps. No other running back or very few running backs are coming even close to his amount of carries. It's just that the Titans are so bad that nothing's happening. So this team has full faith in him. He is a big part of his offense, but the team is so bad that I just don't feel like starting him against the Cardinals' run defense this week is smart. Unfortunately, I mean, maybe this is the week he pops off for 20 points, but unless you're desperate, I would probably sit Tony P this week and go with a higher upside player, just because his upside is so capped. It really has been capped.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Tony P or on the other side of the ball, Amari DiMercado?
I would still go Tony P there probably, unless you're an underdog and you need that upside, because DiMercado has that more of an upside, more of an unknown, but Pollard's floor is just it's a floor.
Fair. I just wanted to see if we were that low or not yet. Pollard versus Scadaboo.
Scadaboo against the Saints. Give me Scadaboo against the Saints.
Okay. All right. Who else do you have for your sits?
My one other sit. Where is he? Oh, okay. So I'm really excited to see Dylan Gabriel. He's an Oregon QB, except his first start is against the Browns defense in London. Just absolutely insane choice to start. And you might be thinking that Jerry Jeudy's a good start this week because, Cedric Tillman's on IR. No, he's not. He's not. He's really not.
You have to avoid this game for the pass catchers. Quinshon Judkins has proven to be matchup proof at this point so far, so you can play him. I'm still a little worried about him, but I think that like if you believe that this is who he is, play him. You can't play the passing game. The passing game is just it's terrifying on this particular game because the whole entire setup is a nightmare fuel for a rookie QB's first start.
Yeah,
I can't get it.
It's weird. I mean, they had the bench Flacco, but they should have done that last week. They should have done it mid-game last week, and then maybe there's something there.
Throw out Shador out there to get the rumors to stop. I mean, like anything really.
This is how bad he really is. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, let's throw him against Brian Flores. All right, this is why we're not starting him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that gives me thoughts that they think they can win this game. Which I mean, any given Sunday, the Browns did beat the Packers, so like you have this like little ray of hope, but I don't think it can possibly come from the passing game.
This is the hottest of hot takes. I think there's still a world where Gabriel comes out and is great, or maybe Sanders, and the Browns make the playoffs. I mean, this defense is a playoff defense.
Then I have a question for you. If that happens and Dylan Gabriel comes out and he's amazing, then at what point does Oregon become the QB university?
Among like Big Ten schools, like it's already more so than I would say Ohio State, Penn State.
I'm just saying, like if they have another Oregon QB that comes out and is amazing, then I don't see how you don't just go like, okay, you have to draft him no matter what.
Dante Moore, their QB right now, is going to potentially declare this next season, and he could be a first-round pick. So it's looking good.
It's crazy. Before I get into my controversial sits, I have a question here. I'm going to pop up. Do I trade Javonte and Addison for AJ Brown and Kittle? I'm dodging my camera right here. I don't.
No, I don't.
Yeah. I stick with the Javonte and Addison part of this. I think I really liked what I saw from Addison like last week after his first game back from the suspension. Javonte's been killing it. Kittle was killing it for the first half of the game, but like if you don't have Purdy in there, who's to say what happens? I don't.
There's a lot of risk there, and I think that Brown is probably going to finish with more points per game at the end of the season. But I think Addison is a safer play, in my opinion, on most weeks than what Brown's going to be too. Mm-hmm. And Javonte's he's looking good.
Yeah, I wouldn't move away from that right now. Like I don't think that he stays where he's at, but he's going to stay in a very usable place if he doesn't get hurt. Yep. Controversial sits for me. So my controversial sits. I'm going to start off with one that maybe isn't controversial after the last few weeks, but I'm going to sit Derrick Henry this week. They're going against the Texans. I don't love that matchup for Derrick Henry at all. They lost Lamar. That typically makes the running game just like a little bit more predictable. And right now, Derrick Henry's in his head a little bit. I don't think this is a good matchup for a get right game for him, and not in this particular set of situations. Now, I know if you have Derrick Henry, you probably don't have like a lot of options to sit him for,
But you might.
but you might. And I would say think about that. This is a bad matchup. The Texans defense has been performing, even if their offense isn't. You might think the Texans, that's a bad team. Their defense isn't bad. It's very good.
If you're the kind of, if you got really lucky in your draft, you went like Henry, James Cook, and then you also picked up like a Javonte Williams or Quinshawn Judkins, I would play most of all those guys. Maybe not Quinshawn, but maybe over Derrick Henry. And that's the kind of situation you run into where you were sitting Derrick Henry. Like, yeah.
And then I'm sitting all in every single one of the Chiefs running backs.
Yep.
Pacheco, Hunt, any of them. Even for the waiver wire guys this week who you may not be as sure on. I'm starting the Cardinals running backs before any of these guys this week because I don't have the trust or the faith that they're going to score enough. Even if the Chiefs offense is doing pretty well, I don't think it's going to be a high scoring affair.
I don't really think it will, not because the Chiefs suck, but the Jaguars defense is good. It's really, really good.
Exactly. Yeah. You're just running into a matchup it's a bad matchup for the running backs. And like, if you do think a running back's going to score, I don't see why it wouldn't be Xavier Worthy, honestly.
Yeah, no, he's leading the team. He comes back from a shoulder injury and leads the team in rushing yards.
Yeah.
And I think number 2 is Mahomes. So
it's been bad and slow going for these guys. I'm saying this is the week you could officially, if you haven't yet, sit them and feel very confident that was the right choice.
Yeah.
So I think that we've kind of touched on a lot of the things that are happening here and a lot of the players. So I'm feeling pretty confident that we can call it there for the week.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. I do have one more question that's coming through right this second. So this is related to the Javonte and Addison for AJ Brown and Kittle. That's just a follow up. He wants to clarify. If I have Kyron, Achane, Chase Brown, Nico Collins, Sutton, Marv, Tet, Javonte, Addison, do I still not do the trade? So, and I'll pop that up again for you.
Yeah. Well, I want to know who your tight end is, because that could be a deciding factor here. This still makes me lean towards the Addison Javonte side of things.
Yeah, the hard part is unless your tight end is literally no one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I go.
Yeah, like even if it's like you're rolling out Fannin or something, which is pretty close to no one at this point, I'm still sticking with the Addison Javonte side just because AJ Brown and Kittle. Okay, Kyle Pitts.
Okay, see, then here's a chance for me to defend Kyle Pitts. Hell yeah. No, I think that he's a worthy tight end, not the upside of Kittle, but I think your running backs are decent, but not great. I mean, Devon Achane and Kyron is good, and then Javonte, but that's a great 3 tandem there. And I think that you don't really want to lose Javonte because you don't want to start Chase Brown as your third running back.
Yeah, I'm all 100%. Regardless of this context, I'm still sticking with Javonte and Addison. It's not particularly close for me. I just don't think if the Eagles were losing games right now, I would be way more in on the AJ Brown side because I think they'd have to change something up. They are
no, and there's no
undefeated.
reason. Yeah. This is a good team though. This is a kind of team, even in a 10-man, that I think could. I like a lot of these players like late season. So this is definitely seems like it could be a championship team.
Your team's solid. I wouldn't make the switch up to try to upgrade at your tight end. It's not worth it. Try to find a different way to upgrade at your tight end. Or it's not necessarily worth it. Kyle Pitts isn't that bad. And he's looking a lot better. As long as Penix keeps showing up, Kyle Pitts will keep showing up.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, good luck in week 5, everybody. I hope it goes well. I really hope there's no season-ending injuries for your team because I know how it feels. I hate it. It's like the least fun part of this whole entire thing. But otherwise, doink out.
Doink out.